Hello everybody, I'm really excited for this because you know how much I love behind the scenes stuff. One of you beautiful, beautiful people has put in the Discord video suggestions this playlist, which I wouldn't have been aware of actually if you haven't showed it to me. This is a behind the scenes, it's called Inside the Episode, it's from Apple TV, and it's basically a little kind of, like a little explainer vid, I suppose. I'm going to see how much I can watch today. I can't get through all of these probably because you know what I'm like, I like to take my time when watching stuff. I love this kind of, I wish more shows did behind the scenes and, you know, you could learn more from the writers and directors and stuff, but we do have these little mini episodes of behind the scenes of every episode of season 2 of Severance. So, without any further ado, let's get straight on into this and let's look at how they made the absolute marvellous, magical, mystical weirdness that was Severance. Right, ready? Let's go. Just want to also say, if you do come across videos that you want to, you know, share to me or to others, it might be something you think I want to watch or react to, best thing to do is join the Discord and basically put it in the video suggestions. There's just a little forum, you can drop YouTube links or the names of shows or movies that you think might be my kind of thing. I basically have a look through there once a week. I jot stuff down that intrigues me, and it's the best way to get suggestions to me. If you like to sit and listen to music, you like to talk about shows like Severance and Blue Eye Samurai and all that kind of stuff, and you just want to join a community of like-minded people, then I'll leave a link to the Discord in the top of the comments and in the description, and you can just click and join, and I'll see you there.
They torture us down there! David! We're prisoners! She's alive!
Season 2 of Severance picks up right where Season 1 left off.
Welcome back, Marcus. In a minute.
You are going to have questions immediately answered, but there will be a whole host of new questions that will come up.
There's much damage to control.
You may learn the answer to what you think was the big mystery,
You should have left.
only to find that's part of an even bigger thing that you didn't even know existed.
Both Mark and Mark are on a collision course with each other, and I'm not sure that they can both get what they want.
No.
If you asked Miss Cobell what season 2 was about, she wouldn't tell you anything. You fear me.
How is Patricia even creepier somehow in person outside of... I remember my mum watched Severance. She was like, oh my god, that's Patricia. And I was like, I didn't really know too much about her as an actress, but my mum did. And she was like, she's so good. But I had no idea. She is Cobell. Like, that's the funny thing.
If you asked Miss Cobell what season 2 was about, she wouldn't tell you anything. You fear me. We fear no one.
We've now been introduced to these outie characters, so there are a lot of spaces to explore that we didn't in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
It's expanding the world in terms of locations that we see, but also in terms of who all is at Lumen and what else is going on there.
Hi everyone, I'm Miss Wong.
So it very quickly becomes a bigger show.
A new quarter. Fresh start for all of us. There's a lot more octane in this season. The gas gets turned up.
The board has concluded the call.
Season 2 is weirder, tenser, and freakier.
Was a pineapple involved?
There's a little bit of everything. More snacks, more celebration, more hallways.
It's an interesting roller coaster ride.
I'm excited to surprise the audience and take them somewhere new and exciting.
It's not our world up there.
It's just one big event after another, and I can't wait for people to see the season.
What is this all about? Wait!
Because it really is. Like, the jump from season 1 to season 2, because it gets weirder. And I wasn't even sure if at first I'd like that, if I'm honest. Like, I think I said this during the reaction, when episode 1 first came around, I was like, is this going to get a bit silly? Like, it almost became slapstick comedy at one point, and I was like, I don't know if the show's going to get really stupid now. Obviously it doesn't, it just gets more complex and more interesting, but it is such a jump from the sort of, the eeriness and creepiness of season 1, but season 2 is so bizarre, it like jumps again, you know? Now this next one, which is for Goodbye Miss Cobell, for episode 2 it's like a little bit longer, so we might see more in terms of discussions and stuff. Let's go.
Do you know something about Gemma?
Yeah, she does. So odd. Oh, goodbye, Mrs. Selvig. Sorry, not
In
Cobell.
this episode, there's a pretty big fallout from the overtime contingency, especially with regard to the Audi characters. Lumen has to figure out what information has leaked. Did Mark find out about his wife? You know, did any of them reveal to anybody what they do every day?
For Audi Mark, season 2 is really about, okay, now you know that this company has been deceiving you. What are you going to do about it?
Mr. Scout, I imagine you have a few questions.
Oh, you could say that.
At the beginning of the season, we see that Cobella's been fired and Milchick has taken over her role as floor manager. He's in charge now.
When he gets the promotion, he's placed in these precarious situations where he has to deal with the Audis and do damage control. I'm afraid we've no choice but to terminate your appointment effective immediately.
Milchick is not severed, but he has to play a different character. Because on the inside, he's very much in control, while on the outside world, there is a customer care role.
Oh, Mr. Milchick.
So it's a very, very different dynamic, and it's a very different Milchick than what we've seen before.
He's brilliant, by the way. Forgive me, it says his name here. Hang on, sorry, remind me of his name. Tramell Tillman. He is so phenomenal as Milchick because you can't stand Milchick, and at the same time, you do empathise with it because he's so off. He's as weird as the rest of them, but at the same time, you actually really appreciate that Milchick is there. I don't know. There's this weird energy where I feel huge amounts of sympathy for him, but at the same time, I can't stand the character because he's so authoritative and demanding and controlling. You think he's just like Cobell. And I think learning that mystery about Cobell as well makes you look at all of them in a different light. Even Miss Huang, at one point, you're weirded out by this kid. And then you realise she's just doing an internship and she's going to become like Milchick and like Cobell one day. And then you feel so much empathy for her, you know? They make these characters so lovable and yet so creepy, and I don't know how they do it.
Compliments of the company. He's starting to realize you're answering to more people, and you have more pressure, and there's more responsibility.
I should be running the severed floor.
Now we know why.
I think everyone, to different degrees, struggles with being seen and appreciated. And I think that Harmony, rightfully so, does feel like she has really contributed to this company.
She was actually the one who did the most.
I can't believe how she is Cobell, and at the same time, she's nothing like her.
I think everyone, to different degrees, struggles with being seen and appreciated. And
She's
I
so
think
much
that
like her, and yet she's not.
Rightfully so, does feel like she has really contributed to this company.
She was actually the one who did the most to stop what happened. But if she were to be cast out from this system that she has been a part of since she was a child, once that's gone, where does she go?
Cobell is a genius, which is part of why she's so dangerous.
You don't value me. You fear me. We fear no one.
For Britt,
Such a
it was
good
really
scene.
exciting for her to explore Helena, and I think what she did was really, really special, and that there was just such a different character there. And the way she expanded on Helly really creates such an interesting contrast.
Britt has really embraced that physicality between the two characters.
Yeah, the war
Helly is
was-
quite aggressive. Ow! While with Helena, she's in a position of power where things come to her, so there's much more of a calmness about her, and she's much steadier.
Helena is someone who has to wear a mask in front of people, whereas Helly is just, there's no mask, there's no filter, and there's very little care for what people think. You think we're about to meet our spouses? Maybe.
Oh, this bit's
Maybe
so
it's each
good.
other. That'd be a hoot. Helena has a very sheltered existence, so I think the experience of seeing another version of herself that is so much more free than she is intriguing, inspiring.
It's really weird. I can't work out who Britt's more like. Is she more like Helly or Helena?
The-
Maybe it's because she's dressed up like Helly here that it's making me think it's more Helly, but I can't tell now.
The experience of seeing another version of herself that is
a bit of
so
both.
much more free than she is intriguing, inspiring, and provocative.
I think it's a very complicated moment for her because she sees Inez as subhuman, yet Helly is appreciated and respected and loved in a way that Helena never has been. And realizing that this character that you saw as like a servant might actually be living a richer life than you, I think that really affects her.
I need to see my team again. Please, they're my friends. You can't just make them disappear.
We still don't know what Lumen actually does. What was it that Keir Egan told his children so many years ago? This is what we have to do. This is our purpose in life. And that his progeny have been working ever since then to make it happen. Like, we still don't know the seed of that mystery.
The board's going to give him what he wants, including Heliar. He won't finish without them.
She had to go down there. Oh, it's so good, man. Now knowing that it's... you know it's not. It's not. She goes down as Helena. Oh, it's so clever the way they sort of have done this complexity between the innies and the outies, and you never quite know who's who. You know, after that reveal at the Orbo, you kind of don't know who is who at all. Come on, let's just get on to episode 3, because this is who is alive, and this is where we see what the goat room actually is when they go through that little flap. So let's take a look at this. I would love to see a full behind the scenes so much.
Oh my god. What is this place?
Mammalians nurturable.
So good.
So basically, Mark's innie is leading everyone in an attempt to find Miss Casey.
Innie Mark has this allegiance to his outie. We have to find her and get her out of here.
He's trying to explore the floor and see if there's more clues as to what actually happened, and that's what brings us back to the goats. The goat room was my favorite place we ever shot. We had actual goats running around, and we see the people who are taking care of them. We get a little bit of a sense of their culture and how sort of cagey and paranoid they are. And then, of course, we have the gift of Gwendolyn Christie, who's there as their leader, and I think really is the soul of that group in a very fun way.
But before you go, we would like to see your bellies.
But we still don't know what the actual purpose of the goats is and how what they're doing there relates to the greater picture of what's going on.
Good morning, Seth.
We explore what it is to be a person of color at Lumen. Natalie presents Milchick with these paintings of Keir, and it's a strange moment where Milchick has to sort of process this and try to question what's the motivation behind this.
It's so fucking horrific, because the discomfort, and it's brilliant as well the way they do the painting reveal with Milchick and Natalie, obviously 2 people of colour in this scene. It's not like it's a white person and a black person trying to figure this out and what Lumen are trying to do here. Natalie and Milchick know what's going on, but neither of them can say anything in that moment, so they're both just playing nice, which makes it all the more unbearable. And I was also just going to say, Gwendolyn Christie's so good in that goat room sequence, because they are just almost primitive, you know, in their mindsets, and they show that really well. I would love to know how they built that set, though. Did they just put a load of dirt in a room and then put grass seed down and wait for 3 weeks or something? Like, what did they do?
Where Milchick has to sort of process this and try to question what's the motivation behind this.
Oh my.
So odd.
I love their performances so much in that moment because it's about what you feel safe to say. And of course, Natalie especially knows that you never know when somebody is listening at Lumen. She knows that better than anyone.
Congratulations, Seth.
Does she get it? Is she going to be an ally? It's going to be very interesting to find out.
Dylan G., you've earned an 18-minute visitation event with your Audie's wife.
One of the running jokes from the first season is Dylan imagining that his Audi does muscle shows. He's just like the coolest guy ever, incredibly successful. Then all of a sudden he's like, wait a minute, there's something else going on here.
My husband has had trouble keeping other jobs.
So he's kind of a fuck up? It was kind of a bummer. You know, it's not all wins. It's not all I'm the man. There's a lot more going on.
Lumen, of course, didn't want Dylan to know he has a family, but now that he knows that, how can they incentivize that? Because they know that that is now more important to him than any finger trap or caricature drawing. And so it just becomes the ultimate perk. It becomes do your job and don't cause a fuss, and we will give you the thing that is the most important to you in the world.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought when I was watching it. I was like, okay, he now knows there's a world outside of the perks, but he's still trained to be perk incentivized. So now they just have to up the perks, you know? And they know a waffle party's not going to get to him anymore because he ran out of that one. So they had to give him what he really wanted. It's very clever.
He's also not really allowed to tell his coworkers about what's happening, so it kind of isolates him from them in a way that puts him at odds with all of his friends on the severed floor.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So Mark sees us all. She's basically coming to him saying, if you actually want to make contact with your innie, reintegration is the only way.
Is Regabe?
We see in the first season how dangerous reintegration is by what happens to Petey. So at first, Mark is reticent about it.
It's not until he learns Gemma may be alive that he's able to just say, yeah, okay, screw it. Let's do it. Let's try.
I want to see my wife.
We really explore the reintegration process where he is literally starting to go between both consciousnesses and starting to see things and feel things.
And I think Mark knows that there's a very real possibility that this doesn't work and that he doesn't survive.
So good. That's such a brilliant detail as well, because he's like so against reintegration. He's like, no, I don't want anything to do with it. The minute Regabe even insinuates that his wife might be alive, he's like, okay, let's do it. Like, he drops all fear around him. Not fear, because he's obviously still terrified, but the initial block where he was like, no, I don't want to do it. The minute he finds out there's a possibility she's alive, off he goes, you know? Like, I've got to sit and watch this show again, man. Right. Behind episode 4, the Ortbo, Woe's Hollow, come on.
Irving!
Where did you come from?
I don't know. What are we doing?
I don't know. Shut up.
This was always something I wanted to do at some point on the show, was just have an innie wake up in the middle of a snowy forest and just, how did I get here?
Did you wake up on the ice too?
Yeah, what about you?
On the cliff.
Episode
put
2
Egan
was
on the
very
ice.
challenging because it was all snow. And so creating the visual landscape for that episode was one of the more fun things that we got to do.
We all had so much fun filming that episode. We were in the wilderness together, and it was such a breath of fresh air to go from being in an office with sort of pharmaceutical lighting to just like the wide open expansiveness of nature, and we had a real, true, wild experience.
You know, parks are insanely hard to shoot in, so we went and scouted it with the rangers and stuff to explain to them how we could build this without disturbing anything. We had to build, I think, about a 1/4-mile bridge over all those trees out of scaffolding to get everything in because we couldn't touch one thing in this forest.
Minnewaska was a lot. It was a lot for the crew. We're used to.
What did you just say? What did you just say? You had to build a 1/4 mile. What?
To them how we could build this without disturbing anything. We had to build, I think, about a 1/4-mile bridge over all those trees out of scaffolding to get everything in because we couldn't touch one thing in this forest.
Minnewaska was a lot. It was a lot for the crew. We're used to being on our sets and not going out that much, so it was difficult, but it was nice to get out.
You have followed the path of Kier and Dieter and reached Woe's Hollow.
When we thought about episode 4, like what Lumen would do to send them on a quote-unquote, corporate retreat, I think one of the main motivations is they want to scare the hell out of them.
They wanted to be outside, so I was like, okay, you want to be outside? Let's go outside. This is the tallest waterfall on the planet. He tells them that because it's the truth. They have never seen a waterfall before. So to them, it is the tallest waterfall in the world.
He is Milchek. He's scaring the shit out of me. That is Milchek.
So to them, it is the tallest waterfall in the world.
Sorry if I'm distracting you from looking for your wife.
Any Mark is somehow beholden to help his outie find his wife, but at the same time, his life is all on the inside, and he has no connection to Miss Casey.
Mark starts to realize maybe getting Gemma out of here isn't my first objective. Maybe it's a little more important to take care of myself.
You know, there's a kinship between these two people that is innate, and I think what the show explores in all of its scope is the ways in which we're different in different environments, and does that sort of kinship carry over between characters as you shift from innie to outie.
In many ways, season 1 was about
So messed
childhood, and season 2 is about adolescence. Because the characters are starting to get a sense of themselves and valuing their independence over their outies, and of course,
That is interesting as a way of looking at it. It's like season 1 is childhood and season 2 is adolescence. Ooh.
of themselves and valuing their independence over their outies. And of course, one big part of life for a lot of people is having a first romantic experience. Those sort of clumsy initial steps at figuring out who you are as an adult and as a person.
Hey, kid.
Oh my god.
Irving.
Irving questions who
you
Helly
can tell
is
that's not
and
Helly.
is willing to expose that. I think because he has a little less to lose, because his life is so much more empty without Bert there. What we learn is that Helena has been posing as Helly since they came back.
Just real quick, because there's a couple. When my reactions came out, I got a little bit of slack in episode 5 because people were like, "Wait, you didn't realise it was Helena." Just to clarify, when there was the reveal at the end of the Ortbo episode, Rose Hollow, it's not that I didn't recognise it was Helena. I was confused as to how much we'd seen of Helly versus Helena in season 2. So I wasn't sure if it was just Helena that had somehow been switched on for the Ortbo. I wasn't sure if Helena had been there since season 1. And you've got to realise, for me, with YouTube, if I mess up in my React vids, people poo on me in the comments. And so I have to be very careful how much I jump to conclusions, otherwise people tell me I'm being stupid. So the reason I was sceptical to think whether or not it was Helena that had been awake since episode 1, or if she'd only been woken up, Helly was not in the Ortbo, the reason I was is because I was sceptical to jump to conclusions. That's why, just in case, because some people were like, "Wait, you didn't recognise?" And I was like, "Steady, hang on." I just wanted to I just wanted to really make sure how much of Helena we were seeing and how much of Helly we were seeing. Because to me at that point, on the first watching of it, it still wasn't 100% clear, personally.
But Helena has been posing as Helly since they came back.
It's a really tricky thing that Britt had to do, being Helena pretending to be Helly, and she really didn't want to tip it so the audience could see what was going on. But I think Britt's performance is incredible in that you don't doubt for a second that it's Helly, but then if you go back and rewatch it, you're going to see all kinds of things that are only perceptible to someone who knows.
See, the truth is, I only spotted it. Well, not spotted it, but I was like, is that Helly? It seems off. But it's only because I'm like, where I'm reacting stuff, I'm analysing it. If I was just watching this show, like sat on the couch with the family or whatever, and I was just watching this like everyone else, you wouldn't spot it. It was only because I'm trying to really analyse stuff, the best I can, that something seemed off, but I still didn't. I didn't actually think we were going to find out if it was her.
Who would have the power to send their Audi to the severed floor?
I'm sorry.
We've gotten this huge reveal with Helly, but in doing that, Irving may have taken himself off the game board. What the fallout of that is going to be for Helly and for Irving especially is huge.
May Kier's mercy follow you into the eternal dark.
I miss him, man. I miss Innie. I really hope we somehow see, or at least the outie at some point again. I did read an article. I put it in the Discord the other day, actually. I did read an article that was with John Turturro, and he said that Irv is going to be in season 3. You are going to see some of Irv in season 3, but to the extent of which we don't know. We don't know if it's going to be Innie or outie. Probably more the outie, but there's more to him, because as we go on, we go through these. We still don't know who he was calling in that phone booth, do we? So, there's more to that. Also, I'm glad they didn't drag out the Helena thing. I agree. I'm glad they stopped it there and then moved the plot along into the aftermath, because otherwise I think it would have been dragged out. I agree with you there, actually.
Today we honor Irving B. Let us each take 9 seconds to silently remember our time with him.
Ridiculous.
So in episode 5, the Innies are in many ways at their lowest point that we've seen the team on the entire show. They've lost one of the most important members of their team, and then at the same time they've regained one, but it's under very complicated circumstances.
It's hard to pinpoint a favorite Irving story. For the least fun guy in the world, he was really fun. Dylan and Irving in season 1 started as kind of frenemies, but then by the end of the season, that becomes Dylan's best friend. And then this season, he gets a little distracted with what's going on with his wife, and so he stops listening to Irving. And then Irving essentially dies, so it's a hard thing for him to process. Sorry, I let you down.
As Dylan is going through this guilt, Irving is still trying to help him. So Irving is very much a presence for the Innie section of this episode, even though he's not there, except in melon form. As soon as they wheeled that head in, I was like, okay, I think this season's gonna work.
Who the fuck are you?
We wanted to introduce...
That's where I was like, oh, Helly hasn't met her yet, so Helly hasn't been awake yet. That's the bit that it like truly sunk in for me, just to clarify. But thanks for the people in the comments who told me I was an idiot. Anyway.
As soon as they wheeled that head in, I was like, okay, I think this season's gonna work.
Who the fuck are you?
We wanted to introduce an apprentice, intern type who was very young.
I'm Miss Swung.
These characters are interacting with this young adult who is kind of their boss, too. So that's just an interesting dynamic.
I am lucky enough to have made 4 new friends today.
That's nice, Mark. But I have to remind you that I'm a supervisor, not a friend.
You are not sure who this person is or why they're there and why are they so young.
Why are you a child?
Because of when I was born.
We found a really amazing
Brilliant
young
actress,
actress,
by the way.
Sarah Bach, and
Sarah Bach.
I think she has just the right demeanor where she understood corporate mentalities and feels very self-assured at a young age.
Miss Wong comes out of nowhere. It's like, who is this little girl? And she is not intimidated by Milchick's leadership or presence.
She's very opinionated and strong-willed, so she's not afraid to let him know that she disagrees with him, because they kind of have differing opinions on how women should be run. So it's kind of a back and forth of him trying to educate her and her trying to stand up to him. You shouldn't let them have a funeral. It makes them feel like people.
Milchick finds himself wondering.
What a brilliant young actress. Wow, I hope we see more of her over the next few years. She's amazing. Oh my god.
Them have a funeral. It makes them feel like people.
Milchick finds himself wondering if she's trying to usurp his role, but at the same time, you know, he's reckoning with how he feels about the company as a whole.
Your first performance review as department chief. Excited?
Very much so. I think the performance review comes at a terrible time. It's right after the Ortbo, where there was a massive screw up. So there's a lot of tension coming into this.
You arranged an outdoor retreat and team-building occurrence at great risk and harm to the Egan name.
Milchick is under the corporate pressure of being this middle manager now that he's taken over Cobell's job, and he's really under the gun.
Uses too many big words.
Miss Wong was petty. She went and reported me about the words. Come on, really?
It's always a game with Lumen, and Milchick is well aware of this, but you see him trying to keep that at bay and not let that rock him, but it's really hard not to.
And I believe this performance review could be the end of Milchick.
Couldn't tell.
Oh, this bit.
She wasn't me.
Obviously not.
The aftermath of the Ortbo is Mark second-guessing who Helly actually is and who it is he's in love with, and whether or not he's still being tricked, and whether or not he's just a pawn in some game that the Egans are playing.
Mark.
All of a sudden, there's this new complication in their relationship regarding trust, and even trusting that she actually still is Helly, and Helly feeling that her life has been stolen from her, so she has a lot of anger with Helena.
They know everything we're doing because Helena told them.
That wasn't me.
So they're kind of in a mess, you know, like most relationships.
There is, it's just akin to what that comment said at the end of the last episode, where they're happy they didn't drag out the Helly Helena thing for too long. I'm happy they didn't drag out the Mark hating Helly thing for too long, because by the end of the next episode they've kind of figured it out. What I like with Severance, they kept things moving. Some people say there was stagnation in the show. I don't feel so. I think they kept the plot moving along pretty well, in my opinion.
Relationships.
Oh yes, who is he calling?
They fired me. I think they knew what my Indian was up to.
We still don't know exactly why Irving came to Lumen, or why he knows about this black hallway, and why he wants his need to go there. And I think that's one of the questions that will keep us going.
There's got to be more of that. There's got to be more of that in season 3. Because it's, to me, there's two characters that I'm more suspicious of than anything. In some good ways and in some bad. Like, Irv, to me, is a character that I think there's far more to, and we need to work out exactly what's going on there. The other one's Devon, and I think I'll go over this more in the Q&A when the questions come in and stuff. And I'm going to do some character breakdown videos as well, as and when I can. Devon's a character that really intrigues me, and there's a few reasons why, things that were said in the later episodes, like 8, 9 and 10. There's something to do with Devon, and there's something to do with Irv. And I think Irv is a far bigger player in all this. And I think season 3 might give us some more answers. I'm going to finish this here today, just because I've got to head off and do a couple of things this afternoon. But let me know what you think of this. I'll watch the other 5 videos at some point soon, and then I'll put this out on the channel as well. So in order to not miss that, subscribe, put notifications on, that way you'll see that when that comes out. But let me know below what you thought of the show. Let me know what you thought of season 2. And specifically, what were your thoughts on anything within these first 5 episodes of the season? How did you like it? Did you prefer it to anything from season 1, or did you in some ways prefer season 1? Let me know. Give me your thoughts below, and I will go through the next 5 episodes at some point very soon. If you did enjoy this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, put notifications on, and I will see you very, very soon with some more Severance themed vids and the next show reaction, which is going to be Silo. So if that sounds like your thing, come and join me. Take very, very good care of both your innie and your outie, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.